Welcome everybody. Today we are going to give you a tour of our goat barn. This barn is a metal carport that we purchased from a company here local. There are many of those that are out there for you to choose from. This particular building is an 18 by 31. That's their dimensions that they give. On the inside it is really 18 by 30. The extra foot is for the eave on the building. We chose specific cutouts and window placements and openings due to what I wanted to set the barn up as in. They're pretty customizable to what you want. So those are kind of all your options you get. You can also just get a completed shell and pick your own. As you'll notice, we don't have any doors, and that is because due to all of the supply demands around, we were not given our doors. So we will be having to source them ourselves or make them. We have yet to decide that yet, but for right now, this is working for us. It took us about 9 months to get this barn. Inside the barn, we have chosen to go with these metal dividing panels. These we've got from Menards. I will try to find the link and put them in the description below. But each panel is 5 foot long, and each of these back here is 5 foot deep. The reason that I felt that these worked good for us is because whenever you order one of these metal carports, the beams that they install are every 5 feet. So each pen worked out to be 5 by 5. I find them to be a good size for kidding, or if I need to separate a goat out, or anything of that nature. So that is why we went with those. Behind this, as you'll see, we have plastic tarps hanging. Those were to help block the wind until we get some doors built, but for right now that's working. It was a cheap fix, a $5 tarp from the store, and I cut it to size, and it helps to block some wind. We're not using these pasture right now, so that works out great for this purpose, but eventually we will install some type of a door there. Just didn't get a chance before the weather turned on us. Alright, on this end of the barn, we chose to make it for the boys to be able to have a spot to come in at, but they also have a small shelter outside. I felt that the pen was too small for 2 goats, but it worked fine for 1, so I wanted to make sure there was enough room for them. They also have an outside shelter that we will show you later. Okay, on this end of the barn, we chose to leave it open for right now. We've talked about making a loft section and possibly dividing up into other pens, but for right now, we just store our hay and our bulk feed and the bins for our chicken food, our goat feed, our oats, and our dog food. And so this space kind of worked for us for storing all of our feed. We just go up to town and our local feed store will order our feed in bulk for us, and we get a 10% discount whenever you order it in bulk. So it's always worth the savings to check with your local feed store. This particular blend that we are getting is a mixture of a Timothy grass and some clover. See, there is a milk stand right here. This wall is all framed in, and there's an opening right here. This opening will be so that the girls come in from the pen door up to the milk stand, get milked, and then this will have a string on a door, and they will go down and out and back into their pen whenever they're done being milked for an in and out system. So this whole section, future plans for it are is that we build another wall section and enclose this in to keep the dust and debris out, and the walls be lined with a material that's easy to keep clean. So it's a nice clean and sanitary area for milking. On this whole back half of the barn here, this is for our girls. This section is approximately 10 feet by 18 feet. It's the whole end of the barn. Again, we have these panels that they can divide this front section, and then on this side we have a wall that we're going to have that's for the milking area. So we can feed them their hay here. We're going to probably build some bigger hay feeders because they can eat this down pretty quick, but for right now, this was an old one that we made and it's working, so we're not changing it. But the girls all stay in here. They have a 6x6 opening that we will be making doors for to close off during inclement weather. But let's go inside so you can see some of the other items that we have added. As you can see behind me, we have a hay feeder on this side. We've got a trough for their food. And this is the other side of the wall. We had some scrap T111 3/4 inch siding that we used on this side of the wall for the girls. And then over here, I will zoom into this so you can see, this is an old bed that we had. This is an old bed right here. It was a twin size bed frame, and then we got these pallets, and the pallets were just the right size to put on the bed rails to make a bed for the goats. They like to be off the ground, and on the pallets they have openings, and we just filled them in with some pieces of wood in between so that nobody gets their hooves caught and gets injured by that. And they like to go up there and lay down to get off the ground. Some of our girls. This young lady right here is Almond, and this young lady right here is Lacey. Lacey is our oldest goat. She's our very first goat from whenever we first decided to get them. She is the only one that we have that is a different breed. She is a La Mancha. All of the others that we have are Alpines. As you can see on this side, there's the structure that we made for the bucks, and it is made out of pallets. And when we had the barn built, they had a bunch of scrap tin left over, and we asked them if we could have that tin because we could always find a use for some scrap tin. And so we took the pallets, lined it with the scrap tin, and it makes a nice shelter for the boys to go into out there. That little white structure that you see over there is our original metal building that we use, and we'll go over there and we'll talk about that in just a moment. That young lady right there is Gamma. Gamma is one of our babies that we purchased from another breeder, and she is 2 years old. So, and then the other little white one, let's see if we can't find her. She is up there. That is Snowbell. There's Almond again. The little white goat right there is Snowbell. She is one of our babies that was born in the spring. That young man right there is our buckling that was born. That is Thunder. And the other one behind him is our male buck, Twist. Twist, if you notice, has the tie, the white ties on his belly side there. And that is where we get our name, Twist Tie Farm, from. Okay, as I said, this is an old metal shed that we had purchased. You can find these at Lowe's, Home Depot. We got this from a local hardware store up in town. It cost about $200 whenever we purchased it. They're probably a little bit more now these days, but very inexpensive. This particular one is an 8 by 12 or an 8 by 10, I can't remember, but we just took some bags of concrete, mixed them up, and poured them on the inside, and it works during the warm months. We have the girls over here as just a shelter to come out of the rain. We had some wood frames in here, and those also, the girls like to be off the ground, so that worked. Right now we've got this all cleaned out and it's ready. Our plan for this section is when the kids are born, we are going to move them over here, and this will separate them. We bottle feed our babies, so we do remove them from their mothers right after they are born, and we keep them actually warm and in a heated space the first couple weeks that they're born. They don't get to come out right away, and then whenever they're a little bit older, they get to come out and play. We will show you all that stuff whenever we have kids. We are due to have our first kids in March, and we'll bring you along on the process with that, so stay tuned for those. This whole field here is fenced. There's a nice section over here. We are talking about concreting a part of this section on this side to help with parasites. That is supposed to help control the parasites with the babies. And right now this has got seed planted on it, so that way it can grow. And by the time the babies come out here, I'm hoping that this will be a nice seeded area with lush greens for them to chew on. We'll see. That may not work as planned, but that was the plan. This got seeded in the fall and ready to go for them. As you can see inside these little metal sheds, they are very low clearance on headroom. I don't have but a few inches up top here, but goats are a lot shorter than us, so it works out well for them. They don't need all the headroom. The only concerns with having a cheaper metal shed like this is that the goats like to rub up against everything and can be a little rough with the products, and they have dented the sides up. If you were going to use this for adult goats on a long-term basis, I would suggest that you get some scrap lumber or some pallet wood or something and line the bottom sections to help protect the shell with the cheaper metal that is on there. To extend the life of it. If you're looking for a cheap goat shed, I would suggest checking out your local hardware stores and finding one of these metal sheds. Works well if you've got, you know, a handful of goats and you're looking for a shelter for them, even if it's just something for a field so you can rotate out their pastures, and looking for that way for them to get out of the rain. If you do not know, goats do not like to be in the rain, so they need a place to go and seek shelter, and this works for that.